yeah, Chinese tones are really hard, and I would rather just not learn them. Now, before you go and like act like all the people off of Reddit and decide that, you know, you're a language learning expert and why you need to learn the language exactly this certain way, or scream at me or whatever. I'm not learning Chinese tones because I don't need to. I think sometimes we forget that when you're learning a language, you're learning it for yourself first, right? Um, I find that learning, like with my Spanish and even with my Chinese now, when I learn words that are most important to me in my life and the things that I do, I find myself being able to recall them a lot better than even if I use those top most common word, most frequent Chinese words list, you know what I mean? Like, for example, I'm here on the Lu Tai, right? Lu Tai. And I come out here every single day. Every single day, I come out to my Lu Tai. And that's probably a pretty rare word, but for me, it's not. Another thing is like, the goal, at least my goal, sorry, I have some notes right here, but at least my goal when learning a language is I want to be able to be understood first. That's always been my first goal. That's why, like, even though I've been learning Spanish for almost 4 years now, 5 2021, since 2021 about. My Spanish is definitely not the fastest, not the best, but I can be understood. I was able to get my first tattoo completely in the target language, which was it was a fun, like, she had a lot of patience. I love this tattoo artist. If you're out in Merida and you did the tattoo artist, I got you. She's amazing. And she doesn't speak English, so it was fun. I was forced to try out my Spanish and use my broken Spanish, but still understandable Spanish, to communicate with her and get the tattoo I've always wanted. So, man, how do people do this? The walking and the talking videos. My arm aches. But yeah, ultimately my goal is to be understood in the language, and I have a really close online friend, Chinese friend, kind of not really Chinese, like should probably stop calling him that, but for these purposes, so you understand, he's a fluent Mandarin speaker, right? And guess what? He understands me when I say "Oi Chongo," right? Like, or if I say "Oshi Mego Zhen," something like that, he can understand me. He says I have an accent and they'll know immediately, but I say there's a lot of reasons why somebody might not assume that I know fluent Mandarin, and even if I did know perfect fluent Mandarin, they're never gonna treat me like a Chinese, right? And that's okay. That's okay. My goal with my Chinese, as I believe that language learning should be super personal to you. You have your own goals, and that could be whatever that looks like to you. My goal, I want to be able to read and write Chinese. Like, I don't have the notebook up here with me, but I recently bought a cute notebook so I can really be consistent about this. I'll insert a photo, hopefully. Yeah, I have a really cute notebook that I use, and I journal about my day every single day, like visiting Lu Tai and visiting Haibian at the beach, which is only a few minutes away from here. My goal is to read and write Chinese. Only recently did the desire be placed on my heart to visit China. Very recently, like I'm talking like maybe 3 weeks ago, I was like, you know, actually, I know what happened. I had a really vivid dream that I was in Shanghai. And ever since then, I have been trying to figure out how I can be in Shanghai. So, but that's recent. And if I decide to change my mind and learn tones, I'll let you guys know. But for right now, like, look, I got yelled at in like a Discord about not caring about tones. And now I'm here ranting about it. So there you go. Yes, I know the argument that like it's like taking out the vowels out of English or something. But again, I want to read and I want to write. And I want to be able to roast my Chinese friend in Chinese through text. I don't need to know tones to do that. You know what I mean? Like, I could just type in the pinyin. And there you go. The Hanzi shows right up. It populates itself. So why am I going to... There's so many hard aspects. Not hard. I hate saying Chinese is hard. I actually think Chinese is easy if you break it down into steps like this. When I get to a point where I can understand all the grammar concepts, I can read well, I feel I can write well, because these are my goals, me, Ash's goals. Okay, now it doesn't have to be your goals. It doesn't have to be your goals, okay? But these are my goals. And once I get to my goals, or like at least a really proficient level, sure, let's develop my Chinese even more. Let's go a step further. I'll go back and maybe I'll watch more audio videos and practice speaking more, learning. And then, yeah, ultimately I would have to learn tones if I'm going to practice speaking, right? But for right now, I could just roast my friend in pinyin and it's completely fine, you know what I mean? And I just wanted to make this video real quick. God, it's so hot. I wanted to make this video like just to... If you are solely like, you got a trip to China or something and you've got, sorry, I have a little bit of a cold, but, and you have a trip to China and you need to learn like as much Chinese, Zhongwen as much as possible in, you know, like 3 months before your big trip. Yeah, like obviously your path of Chinese learning is gonna be reading those lists that I mentioned, the big list with like the most common words or whatever. That's gonna be obviously a little more practical for you, and you're gonna need to learn your tones, right? You gotta practice your tones. I can't even pronounce Chinese that well. Like, I don't practice speaking at all because I don't care. I'm not going to China right now. I'm okay here in Mexico, right? But again, the day that I finally book my flight to Shanghai, it will be a different situation. This is just a reminder. Language learning is unique to you, what you're looking for. Don't let anybody tell you how you need to be learning. Throughout my Spanish journey that I've been years and years of trying to practice Spanish, I've changed my strategy over and over and over again, and aunque no puedo hablar en forma con más fluidez y hago muchos errores y obviamente hay un demora entre mis palabras. I can be understood, right? So, and I'll get better. I'll get better. It's okay. And Chinese, again, like, I don't think I like really explained well, like just how, like, all the different, like, if you're learning Chinese, I'm sure you know about all the difficult aspects of it. But you know, there's writing, which is obviously a whole skill of it itself. There's learning all the Hanzi. I actually did learn, what do you call it, Hasig, whatever, you know, that guy, the remember the Hanzi stuff. I actually did do that, so like I would love to talk about my experience with that because I found him to be really, really useful up until a point, and I'll explain that in another video. But like, so just remembering Hanzi itself was really difficult. Like, not difficult, I don't want to say it's hard, but it's just time consuming. It took me a few months to achieve 1,563 Hanzi. I believe I kind of stopped around there, like 63 or 53 or something. But yeah, it takes time. It took a while to learn like what, 200 something. This was like a year or two ago, of the radicals, the 200 radicals, right? I'm willing to put that time into those aspects of learning Chinese because I want to be able to write and read Chinese. I don't care. Like, I'm going to let myself have grace if I don't remember it's a rising tone or a falling tone. And when I do like the Pleco flashcards and stuff, I do still like keep the sound on, and maybe subconsciously or something I'll be able to like know what sounds right when I end up finally learning tones. But even if it doesn't work, it'll be okay. Like, I mean, yeah, some people say you create bad habits or whatever. I don't care. I'll fix the bad habit even if it takes me a long time to do it. And a lot of people, I feel like, especially on Reddit, like, don't use Reddit for anything. I don't know why, but like Reddit has become so toxic. I delete my account like every few months. Anyway, Reddit is not the supportive system that it used to be. And like I almost always get bullied or whatever on Reddit, which is fine. But like, I just don't understand why people feel the need to like police how you're learning the language, like police you and how you're learning. Like, there is no, I don't know if you guys have recognized this, and this is for the people at Reddit, but like, the reason that there's a bajillion different courses and methods and whatever to learn Chinese or any language is because there is no perfect way to learn a language, you know? You just have to find what works for you. Like, what makes you excited about the language? What do you like to do? How do you like to communicate? Oh God, I thought that was a cucaracha. How do you like to communicate? You know, I'm a visual person. I think the aesthetic of Chinese is beautiful to me. I like when I draw in my journal and after I fill out a page, I just think it looks absolutely beautiful, even if I'm just talking about like just most mundane stuff ever. Yeah, I don't remember what I was saying because I got a text. Nobody ever texted me, so you know, I got a text and that was alarming. But basically, like, yeah, I know I keep trying to wrap up this video, but basically, don't let nobody tell you how to learn a language. It's not their brain. You know, we all have different brains. That's why there's all these different courses, because there is no perfect way to learn a language. And learning language should be about what you enjoy and what your goal is to do with other people. Like, obviously the end goal is to be able to speak to other people. I hope you can hear me. The end goal is to be able to speak to other people in the language. Be understood. At least that's always been my goal, right? To be understood in the language. And if I started this Chinese journey, which I've been on, oh my God, probably 2022, I want to say. It wasn't a very formal start like it was my Spanish, which I began Spanish because I had an internship at a huge company, and in the design department, I was the only person who couldn't speak Spanish. And I'm like, you know what, like, let's do this. I kind of like, this is a little bit of a rant, but I kind of like started with Japanese first, like I learned Spanish to like a pretty good point that I felt like, hey, I can be understood, great, I can move on, right? And that's when I decided to pick up Chinese. No, that's when I decided to pick up Japanese, because I wanted to learn like an Asian language, or a more challenging language, right? Japanese was way too hard for me, and my motivation wasn't there yet, so I ended up swapping to Korean, and I love Korean. I got pretty good at Korean at one point. I would say I'd probably be like a B1. At some point, I thought that was pretty sick. I know that's basically nothing, but to me, yeah, that meant a lot. And then eventually, I ended up here in Chinese, and I think it's been about 2 years I've been studying this language, which is nothing in Chinese learning, because again, there's all these different aspects to this particular language. So in my 2 years of, I would never had started this journey if I went into it thinking I had to remember the hum, remember the tone it's doing, like how to pronounce all the, literally I think like 3 months ago I decided to like, I should have done this. This is bad. I would actually recommend don't do this. But I actually, like, only a few months ago did I pick up like how to actually properly like you heard my pronunciation, it's not good, but like what the pinyin sound like, because for a while I would pronounce like, hopefully I'm editing like words onto the screen, but for a while I would pronounce like do and do like the same. So it's actually, I think that one was actually, I would actually not recommend that you wait this long to figure out how pinyin works, or at least what the sounds are going to be, because this actually did affect my typing abilities, and I need to be able to type Chinese, that, you know, write, read, and type Chinese to roast my friend, right? So like it actually did affect my roasting ability. So I would I would definitely be like, recommend that you actually properly learn some pinyin as you're learning and picking up Hanzi, okay? I think that's all I got. For you guys. I don't know if I actually like this style of video, but hopefully it helps somebody feel validated. And again, feel free to completely destroy me and roast me in the comments, but I still won't learn pinyin, and I hope that keeps you up at night that I'm learning Chinese the complete wrong way. See you guys.